He was just a waiter, nothing more, nothing less. Every night he stood in the same corner of the small space diner, wearing the same simple uniform and carrying the same silver tray. The diner floated on the edge of Orion Station, a crowded place where ships from every world came and went for most. It was only a stop to eat before flying away into the endless dark of space, but for him it was life. His name was Daniel, a human in his early 20s. He had no family here, no friends close by. He only had this job. Serving customers was not special, but it gave him enough to survive. He would take orders, smile politely, clean tables, and then repeat the same thing again. Day after day, night after night, his life was a cycle that never changed. The diner was always noisy. Aliens from dozens of planets filled the air with strange voices. Their bodies were different, some tall, with glowing eyes, some short with metallic skin, others with wings folded behind their backs. To Daniel, they were no longer shocking. He had seen them all before. They never noticed him. They saw only a waiter, a shadow moving between tables, but Daniel noticed them. He always noticed. He saw the way some customers whispered too quietly, as if they carried secrets. He saw the way certain ships docked without lights, leaving quickly after a short meeting. He heard rumors about wars, about missing cargo, about strange machines spreading across the galaxy. He stayed silent, but inside his mind questions grew. Still, he told himself, I am only a waiter. These things are not for me. Tonight felt different. The diner buzzed with more tension than usual. Travelers kept looking over their shoulders. Shadows seemed longer, sharper. Daniel felt the air grow heavy. He tried to ignore it, but his heart beat faster. Something was wrong. At one table, a group of miners argued about disappearing colonies. Whole towns gone overnight, one said, his voice shaking. Another leaned forward, whispering, They say it's not pirates. They say it's something worse, something not human. Their eyes darted around as if someone might be listening. Daniel delivered their drinks and walked away quietly, but their words stayed in his head. He tried to push them aside, reminding himself again, You are just a waiter, this is not your world. Still, the unease followed him. At another corner, a cloaked figure sat alone. The alien's hands trembled as they lifted a cup of steaming blue liquid. When Daniel approached, the figure raised its head slightly, revealing tired eyes that glowed faintly. For a moment, Daniel felt the gaze pierce into him, as if the stranger could see his thoughts. You are kind, the alien whispered softly. His voice was cracked and weak. Daniel froze, confused. He had not spoken a word, yet the alien smiled faintly. Even in silence, kindness shows. Daniel blinked, not knowing what to say. He turned away to continue his work, but the feeling stayed, like a strange weight pressing on him. As the hours passed, the diner emptied slowly. One by one, the tables cleared. The voices faded, the lights dimmed. Soon, only a few late travelers remained. Daniel wiped the tables, humming quietly, trying to convince himself everything was normal. But deep down, he knew tonight was not normal at all. When he stepped outside for a short break, the spaceport stretched out before him. Hundreds of ships rested like sleeping beasts. Their lights blinked in the dark, engines hummed low. The station's artificial sky was painted with stars. But tonight the stars felt closer, brighter, almost watching. Daniel leaned on the railing, staring into the distance. He dreamed sometimes. Dreamed of leaving this job. Dreamed of flying among the stars. But dreams were not for people like him, he reminded himself. You are just a waiter. He sighed, but then something caught his eye. A small shadow moved between the ships, fast and unsteady. It stumbled, almost falling. Daniel squinted, realizing it was someone, not something. A figure cloaked in black, clutching its side. It looked injured. Before Daniel could react, the figure collapsed near the docking gate. No one else noticed. The station was too loud, too busy. Without thinking, Daniel rushed forward. His hands shook as he reached the stranger. The alien's skin shimmered faintly under the lights, marked, With strange patterns, its breathing was shallow, weak. Daniel hesitated. Should he help or call the guards? Before he decided, the alien gripped his arm tightly. Its voice was broken, but clear enough. "Do not call them," it gasped. "They are not what they seem." Daniel froze. The alien pressed something cold and small into his hand. He looked down and saw a metallic object, glowing faintly with blue light. "You showed kindness," the alien whispered. "Remember this? Kindness will return to you when the stars fall." And before Daniel could ask what it meant, alarms began to ring across the station. Heavy boots echoed. Guards rushed past, searching for something or someone. Daniel hid the object quickly, his heart racing. He looked down again, but the alien had vanished into the shadows, gone as if it had never been there. Only the strange object in his hand proved it was real. Daniel stood there, breathing hard. His mind swirled with questions, fear mixed with wonder. He told himself again, "I am only a waiter." But tonight, for the first time, he felt that was no longer true. The alarms continued to echo through Orion Station. Red lights flashed along the metal walls, warning everyone of danger. Daniel stood frozen, the small glowing object hidden tightly in his palm. His heart raced like never before. Guards rushed through the corridors, tall figures in dark armor. Their heavy boots slammed against the floor. They carried strange weapons that hummed with quiet power. Their eyes scanned the crowd sharply, looking for something or someone. Daniel swallowed hard. He knew they were searching for the alien he had just helped. He could have pointed them in the right direction. He could have spoken up and saved himself from suspicion. After all, he was just a waiter, not a hero. But something inside him stopped. Him. That alien's words burned in his mind. "Kindness will return to you when the stars fall." The guards passed him, their shadows long and heavy. Daniel lowered his head, pretending to be invisible. Just a worker, just background. He hoped they would ignore him, and they did. But deep inside, Daniel felt that he had stepped onto a path he could not leave. Hours later, the diner was quiet again. The tables empty, the floors clean. Daniel's shift had ended, but his mind was restless. He replayed the moment, again and again. The wounded alien, the strange object, the warning. Nothing made sense. When he checked his pocket, the object still glowed faintly. It was smooth, metallic, covered in tiny symbols. Some symbols moved as if alive, changing shape when his eyes focused on them. Daniel's hand trembled. This was no simple trinket. As he turned it over, the object whispered faintly, not with sound, but directly inside his mind. "You are seen. You are chosen." Daniel gasped and dropped it on the table. The glow faded, but the words remained. He wanted to throw it away, forget everything, pretend this night never happened. But something in him refused. His heart told him this was important, and yet fear kept clawing at him. What if the guards returned? What if they knew? Later, when he stepped outside again, the station was quieter. The great port slept under the endless sky of stars. He walked slowly, hoping the fresh air would calm his mind. But then he saw movement, the cloaked alien again, staggering near the shadows. Weaker than before, Daniel's breath caught. He could have turned away, he could have walked back inside, pretend he saw nothing. But kindness was stronger than fear. He rushed forward, catching the alien before it fell. The alien's skin felt cold, its patterns dim. "You should not," it whispered weakly. "They will see you." "I don't care," Daniel said, his voice shaking. "You need help." The alien stared at him, surprise shining faintly in its glowing eyes. "Why?" it asked. "You gain nothing. You risk everything." Daniel hesitated. He didn't have an answer. He was not brave, not special, not important. He was just a waiter. But somehow he could not let this being suffer. "Because it is right," he whispered. The alien's expression softened, almost like a smile. For a moment, Daniel felt something pass between them. Not words, not thoughts, but a silent understanding. Suddenly the sound of boots echoed again in the distance. Guards were sweeping the area, their voices sharp, commanding. Daniel's heart jumped. He looked around quickly, searching for a place to hide. There, between two storage crates, a narrow gap led into darkness. Without thinking, Daniel pulled the alien with him, crouching low. They pressed against the cold wall as shadows passed nearby. The guard's light scanned the ground, searching, hunting. Daniel held his breath. The alien trembled against him, weak and fading. The guard stopped just a few steps away. One of them muttered, "The target is near, spread out." For endless seconds, Daniel's heart pounded so loudly he thought the guards would hear it. Then, finally, the heavy footsteps moved away. The danger faded. The alien collapsed, its body heavy. With exhaustion, Daniel whispered urgently, "Stay awake, you'll be safe now." The alien opened its eyes faintly. "Safe," it murmured. "No, nowhere is safe. Not anymore." It coughed weakly, glowing patterns flickering on its skin. "But you, human, you have chosen kindness, and kindness is rare in this galaxy." Daniel shook his head. "I don't understand. Why me?" The alien reached out, touching Daniel's hand. The object in his pocket pulsed with light at the same moment. The alien's voice grew weaker, but more intense. "Because only those who choose kindness freely, without gain, can carry what must be carried." Before Daniel could ask what that meant, the alien pressed a new mark into his palm, a small crystal-like shard, glowing faintly. "This will guide you," it whispered. "Protect it. They will hunt you for it, but remember, kindness will return when the stars fall." And with that, the alien's body grew still. Its glow faded into nothing. Daniel held it, trembling. His mind swirled with fear, grief, and confusion. Around him, the station still buzzed with life, unaware of what had just passed in the shadows. But for Daniel, nothing would ever be the same. He looked at the shard, at the object, at his own trembling hands. He whispered to himself, "I am only a waiter." Yet in his heart he knew that was no longer true. The next morning arrived slowly. Orion's station buzzed with the same noise, the same lights, the same endless routine. But for Daniel, nothing felt the same. His hands still remembered the weight of the alien. His mind still carried the words, "Kindness will return when the stars fall." He had hidden the small glowing shard inside a broken locker in his room. The other object, the strange device, remained in his pocket. It felt heavier now, as if it carried more than metal, as if it carried a secret waiting to open. Daniel stood in front of the diner again, customers already filling the tables, but this time his eyes were sharp. He noticed every glance, every whisper, every shadow. He felt hunted, watched. The guards moved across the station more often now. Their helmets gleamed under the artificial lights. Their voices carried warnings. "Stay clear of restricted areas. Report suspicious behavior immediately." He kept his head down, he told himself again and again. "I am only a waiter," but every time his fingers touched the object in his pocket, he remembered. He was no longer just that. During his break, Daniel slipped into a quiet alley of the station. The hum of engines vibrated through the floor. He pulled out the device, staring at it in the dim light. The symbols shifted slowly across its surface, alive, dancing like liquid silver. Suddenly, the device pulsed. A faint blue glow covered his hand. Daniel gasped, and before he could drop, a voice whispered directly into his thoughts. "Do not fear. You are not alone." He stumbled back, eyes wide. His breath caught in his chest. "What are you?" he whispered aloud. The device responded inside his mind. "I am a key. I am a guide. I was carried to you by choice, not chance." Daniel shook his head. "No, this isn't real. I'm dreaming." But the glow only grew stronger, wrapping around his arm like a gentle flame. The voice continued, calm and patient. "You were chosen because of your act. You helped when no one else would. And now, the burden is yours." Daniel's knees weakened. He pressed against the cold wall. His voice shook. "Burden? What burden? I don't want this. I'm no fighter. I'm just a waiter." The device pulsed again, brighter. You are human. Humanity holds what others have lost. Compassion, resilience, choice. That is why you were chosen. Before Daniel could reply, the shadows in the alley shifted, footsteps echoed. 3 armored figures appeared at the entrance, their helmets shone, their weapons raised. Daniel's heart jumped. He hid the device quickly inside his jacket. The guards marched closer, scanning the area. One of them muttered, "The signal is near. The shard was detected here." Daniel froze. He held his breath. The device pulsed faintly against his chest as if it wanted to speak again. The guards stepped closer. Their eyes glowed under the black glass of their helmets. "You there," one barked, pointing at Daniel. "What are you carrying?" Daniel's hand shook. He forced a nervous smile. Nothing, just on break." The guard stepped forward, raising a scanner. A red beam passed across Daniel's chest. The device burned hot against his skin. For a moment, Daniel thought it was over. But then, the beam blinked green, clear. The guard frowned. Strange. The signal vanished. He looked at Daniel suspiciously, but finally waved his hand. "Move along." Daniel nodded quickly, walking away as fast as his legs allowed. His heart pounded like thunder in his chest. Once out of sight, he leaned against a wall, gasping for air. He whispered to himself, "They're hunting me. They..." No. That night, alone in his room, Daniel placed the device and the shard on the table. He stared at them, the glow filling the dark silence. "Why me?" he muttered. "Why not someone stronger, someone smarter?" The device whispered again. "Because you chose kindness when you had no reason to. That choice cannot be forced. It is rare. It is powerful." Daniel closed his eyes. He remembered the alien's tired face, the way it had looked at him with trust. He remembered the words, "Kindness will return when the stars fall." Suddenly, the shard lit up. A small beam of light projected from it, glowing in the air like a tiny star map. Daniel's mouth opened in shock. The map shifted, showing strange symbols and moving points of light, and at the center a red circle glowed. The device spoke again. "This is the beginning. The enemy moves faster than you know. They seek to erase what you are, what all humans are. You must decide, hide and be forgotten, or step forward and be remembered." Daniel's chest tightened. He felt fear, but also something new, something burning quietly inside. He whispered, "I am no hero." The voice answered, "No one begins as a hero. They begin with a choice." The map faded slowly, leaving only silence. Daniel sat there, his hands trembling. He looked at the shard, at the device, at the empty room, and deep inside he knew the truth. His life as a simple waiter was over. Something far greater had already begun. The station never slept, but tonight Orion felt different. Tension crawled through every corridor. Security drones floated near the ceiling, scanning travelers with red beams. The guards marched in groups, their weapons glowing faintly, somewhere. Inside all this chaos, Daniel moved quickly, his head low, his steps fast. The device pulsed softly in his pocket like a heartbeat. He tried to silence it, pressing his hand against the fabric. "Not now," he whispered, "please not now." But the glow refused to fade. He turned into a narrow passage behind the diner. The air smelled of metal and smoke. He hoped to lose himself in the crowd, but then a sharp voice cut through. The noise. "There!" Daniel froze. 3 armored figures stepped out of the shadows, their helmets reflecting the station lights, their weapons aimed directly at him. One guard shouted, "Surrender the shard, human." Daniel's breath caught. His body wanted to obey, to give up, to end this, but the alien's words echoed in his mind. "Kindness will return when the stars fall." He shook his head slowly. "I don't have it." The guard raised his weapon. A bright blue charge crackled at the tip. "Do not lie." Daniel panicked. He turned and ran. His footsteps pounded against the metal floor. The crowd of travelers turned their heads as he pushed, through shouts rising around him. The guards gave chase, their boots like thunder. The device flared against his chest, whispering urgently, "Run left now." Daniel didn't think. He obeyed. He slipped into a side tunnel just as a beam of energy struck the wall behind him. Sparks exploded. The air burned. With heat. He stumbled but kept moving. The tunnel grew darker, narrower. Pipes lined the walls. Steam hissed from broken vents. Daniel's lungs burned, his legs ached. But still he ran. The voice spoke again, calm but firm. You must survive. Humanity depends on it. Why me? Daniel gasped. I'm nobody. Because you choose, the device replied. And choice is power. Behind him. The guards closed in. Their footsteps echoed louder. A drone flew ahead of them, its red eye glowing. Scanning for him, Daniel ducked low, grabbing a loose pipe from the floor. As the drone darted close, he swung wildly. The pipe smashed against the machine. Sparks burst. The drone fell with a screech, but the noise betrayed his position. He's here, a guard shouted. Daniel's heart pounded harder. He sprinted again, the tunnel bending upward. Suddenly, the floor opened into the wide docking. Bay ships rested like sleeping beasts. Their engines hummed low. Workers moved crates with floating lifters. The smell of fuel filled the air. Daniel's eyes darted wildly, searching for escape. There, a guard roared. They stormed into the bay, weapons ready. Panic spread among the workers. They scattered, leaving Daniel exposed. The device pulsed again. Toward the ship with the red mark, Daniel spotted it. A small cargo ship near the far wall. A crimson symbol painted on its side. He dashed toward it, weaving between crates. Energy beams exploded around him, burning holes in the ground. One shot past so close it singed his sleeve. His legs screamed with pain, his chest ached, but he kept running. The guards were faster, stronger, trained to hunt. One of them leapt forward, almost reaching him. Daniel stumbled, falling against a crate. The guard raised his weapon to strike, then the device flared bright. A shield of blue light burst around Daniel. The guard's shot bounced off harmlessly. The energy rippled like water, leaving the soldier stunned. Daniel's own eyes widened in shock. He had no idea how he did it. The device whispered, "You did not. It did. Together we are more." Daniel scrambled back to his feet, pushing forward. The cargo ship's ramp was lowering. A group of traders shouted at him, "Hey, what are you doing?" But Daniel didn't answer. He rushed inside, just as the guards fired again. The shield flickered weakly but held. Inside the ship, Daniel gasped for breath. His body trembled. Sweat dripped down his face. He felt the weight of what just happened. He had survived only because of the strange power in his pocket. The ramp closed. The traders stared at him with anger and confusion. One shouted, "Who are you? Why bring trouble here?" Before Daniel could answer, the ship's captain appeared, a tall woman with cybernetic eyes that glowed faintly. She studied him in silence, then glanced at the guards outside pounding on the hull. Finally, she said, "If they want you this badly, you must be worth something. Sit down, human. You're not leaving until I know why they chase you." Daniel froze. His heart still raced. He looked down at the glowing device in his hand. The words echoed again. "You must decide. Hide and be forgotten, or step forward and be remembered." He swallowed hard, his voice shook. "I didn't ask for this, I was just a waiter." He looked at the captain, his eyes filled with fear, but also something new, something burning quietly. "But now, they won't stop hunting me." The captain leaned closer, her metal eyes flashed. "Then you better learn fast, waiter, because running is only the beginning." Outside, the guards regrouped, ships powered up. The station shook with tension. Daniel held the device tightly, knowing the chase was far from over. The cargo ship lifted away from Orion Station. Its engines roared like thunder, shaking the hull. Daniel sat in the corner of the hold, breathing hard. His hands clutched the glowing device, afraid to let it go. The guards grew smaller through the window until they vanished into the endless black. The traders muttered angrily. Some wanted to throw him out at the next stop. Others wanted answers. The captain stood tall in front of him, her glowing cybernetic eyes fixed sharply on his face. "You brought danger onto my ship," she said. Her voice was calm, but hard like steel. "Now you will explain. Who are you? Why are they chasing you? Daniel's throat was dry, his voice weak. I told you I'm nobody, I'm just a waiter. The crew laughed bitterly, one spat on the floor. Nobody doesn't get hunted by station guards with plasma rifles. The captain raised her hand, silencing them. Her eyes stayed locked on Daniel. Tell the truth. Daniel hesitated. His heart pounded. He thought of the alien, of the warning, of the shard. He pulled the device from his pocket. The crew gasped. Its glow filled the room like living fire. The captain's eyes widened slightly. She whispered, I thought it was only a myth. Daniel frowned. What do you mean? The captain stepped closer. Her cybernetic eyes scanned the device, symbols, reflected across her lenses. That is no simple tool. It is called a keeper. It carries memory older than empires. Whole fleets fought to find it. Whole worlds burned because of it. Daniel felt cold. His hands trembled. But why me? The captain shook her head slowly. The keeper does not choose lightly. If it came to you, it means you were marked, maybe by chance, maybe by fate, but chosen all the same. Daniel swallowed hard. I don't want this. I don't want to be chosen. The device pulsed suddenly. A wave of light spread across the hold. Everyone gasped. The air shimmered, and images appeared, floating like ghosts. Stars, planets, broken ships, fire stretching across the galaxy. The crew stepped, back, faces pale. Daniel's eyes widened in awe and fear. What is this? The keeper's voice filled his mind, clear and strong. This is truth. The vision shifted, showing great machines with black armor, their wings stretched across the void, swallowing light itself. Daniel's heart froze. The machines moved like living shadows, consuming everything in their path. The voice continued. They are called the Veil. They erase, not conquer. They strip worlds of memory, of history, of life, until nothing remains. Daniel shook his head. His voice cracked. But why humans? Why chase me? The light swirled again. A new vision appeared. Ancient humans, standing with strange allies. They were smaller, weaker, but their eyes burned with fire, because humanity carries what the Veil cannot touch. The Keeper whispered, choice, resilience, the spark of kindness. The Veil consumes power, but it cannot consume heart. Daniel stared at the vision. His chest rose and fell heavily. So, they need me to stop it, the voice replied. Not only you, all humans. But you are the first. You carry the shard, the map, the key to finding what was hidden long ago. The shard in Daniel's pocket glowed, rising into the air. It spun gently, projecting the star map again. The red circle burned brighter than before. The captain's eyes widened. That system is forbidden. No ship dares go there. They say it is cursed. The keeper's voice thundered softly. It is not cursed, it is guarded. It holds the archive, the last memory of what humanity once was. Without it, there is no hope. The visions faded, leaving silence. The crew stood frozen. Some stared at Daniel with fear, others with wonder. Daniel lowered his head, his voice barely a whisper. I'm not ready, I can't do this, I'm just me. The captain knelt slightly, her voice softer now. Listen, human, you may think you're nothing, but the galaxy thinks differently. That alien gave you the Keeper for a reason. Maybe the only reason we're still standing is because you said yes to kindness when others would have walked away. Daniel's eyes stung. He clenched the device tighter. The alien's last words echoed in his mind. Kindness will return when the stars fall. For the first time, he felt a strange fire in his chest. Fear was still there, but mixed with something else, something stronger. He looked at the star map again. The red circle pulsed like a heartbeat, calling to him. His voice shook, but he spoke. Then I'll go. I'll find this archive. Even if I'm just a waiter, I'll go. The crew stared in silence. The captain studied him carefully. Then slowly, she smiled. It was small, almost hidden, but real. Then your no Longer just a waiter, she said. You're the spark of something greater. The ship's engines rumbled. The void outside stretched endless and dark. Somewhere out there, the veil moved. Somewhere out there, the archive waited. And Daniel, just a human, just a waiter, was about to carry the weight of humanity's future. The cargo ship drifted through the black sea of stars. Its engines hummed low, steady like a heartbeat. Inside, Daniel sat alone in the storage bay. The shard and the keeper rested in his hands, glowing softly in the dim light. He could not stop staring at them. They were beautiful, but also heavy. Heavy with meaning, heavy with destiny. The captain entered quietly. Her cybernetic eyes glowed faintly. She studied him for a long moment before speaking. You need to learn, she said. If you don't, you won't survive. Daniel looked up, confused. Learn what? Everything, she replied. How to fight, how to move, how to think like someone who is hunted. She stepped closer, her voice sharp. The veil will not stop. The guards will not stop. If you carry that keeper, you can't remain what you were. Daniel lowered his head. I was just a waiter. The captain crossed her arms. Then you must stop being one. Training began the next day. The captain showed him how to stand, how to breathe, how to focus. She placed a training blade in his hand, its metal cold. His grip shook. I don't know how, he whispered. You will, she said simply, and struck. Daniel stumbled, blocking clumsily. The impact rattled his bones, his arms ached. His legs shook. Again and again she pressed him, forcing him to move, to defend. Hours passed. Sweat covered him. His muscles screamed in pain. But he did not give up. Every fall pushed him to rise again. Every strike forced him to learn. The captain's eyes glowed, watching closely. Not bad, she admitted, for someone who started with nothing. At night, Daniel collapsed onto the floor, his chest heaving. His body wanted to quit. But the keeper pulsed gently beside him. Its voice whispered in his mind. Pain is not the end. Pain is the path. Humanity grows when it suffers. That is your gift. Daniel closed his eyes, letting the words sink into him. He remembered long shifts at the diner, long nights cleaning tables when no one cared. He remembered standing alone, invisible. And now, strangely, those years felt like training too. Training in patience, in endurance, in silence. The next days were harder. The crew tested him. They mocked him. A waiter saving the galaxy. They laughed. We'll all be dead. But Daniel said nothing. He focused. He trained. The captain gave him a small blaster, taught him to aim. At first, his shots missed wildly. His hands shook. But slowly, with each lesson, his focus sharpened. Soon, he could hit a target from across the bay. The crew stopped laughing, then came the keeper's lessons. At night, when the ship slept, Daniel touched it. The glow wrapped around him, pulling him into visions. He saw battles fought long ago. He saw humans standing shoulder to shoulder with alien allies. He felt their courage, their fear, their hope. The keeper whispered. They were ordinary like you. They became more because they chose to. Daniel felt something stir in his chest, a quiet flame, fragile but growing. He wanted to run, but he also wanted to stand. One night, the shard lit up again, projecting the star map across the ceiling. The red circle pulsed brighter than ever. The captain frowned. We're getting close, too close. The Veil patrols that region. If we enter, they will find us. Daniel clenched his fists. Fear chilled his spine. But he whispered, Then we must be ready. The captain studied him. Her eyes softened slightly. You're changing, she said. You're not the same frightened boy who boarded my ship. Daniel shook his head. I'm still afraid. Good, the captain replied. Fear means you care, but courage means you fight anyway. That night, Daniel dreamed. He stood on a ruined world, stars burning above him. The Veil marched. Like shadows endless and cold, the alien he had once saved appeared before him, glowing faintly. Kindness will return to you. It whispered again. Remember. Daniel reached out, but the vision faded into darkness. He woke with a start, his heart pounding, his hands trembling, but inside him the fire burned brighter. Days turned to weeks. Daniel's body hardened, his movements grew sharper, his mind clearer. The crew no longer mocked him, some even trained with him. And though fear never left his heart, determination grew beside it. Then, one quiet evening, the ship's alarm rang. The crew rushed to their stations. The captain's voice was grim. The Veil have found us. Through the window, Daniel saw them, black ships sliding out of the void, their wings spread wide, blocking the stars. Their presence sucked the yaw. Light away, the air itself seemed colder. The captain turned to him. This is it, waiter. Time to see what your training is worth. Daniel held the keeper tightly, its glow brighter than ever. The voice whispered calmly, Do not fear. You are not alone. Humanity walks with you. He took a deep breath. His legs trembled. His heart raced. But he stood taller, his eyes fixed on the darkness outside. He whispered, I was just a waiter. Then he clenched his fists, but not anymore. The ship shook violently as the first blast struck. The crew scrambled, the veil closed in. Daniel's fire burned. His journey was no longer a choice, it was here, it was now. The ship trembled as the first strike from the veil hit. The hull groaned under the pressure, alarms blared and lights flickered red. The crew scrambled to battle. Stations! The captain shouted commands, her metallic eyes glowing as she scanned the threat outside. Daniel stood frozen for a moment, staring through the window. The Veil fleet was larger than anything he had ever imagined. Dozens of black ships glided through the void, their wings wide like shadows stretching across the stars. They seemed alive, moving with a strange, unnatural grace. Wherever they went, the light around them dimmed. The keeper pulsed in his hand. Breathe. Daniel, breathe. Daniel gasped, his chest tight. His mind screamed at him to run, to hide, to disappear. But there was nowhere left to hide. No corner of the galaxy safe if the veil consumed it. He took a deep breath and whispered, I'm not ready. No one is ever ready. The keeper replied, But courage is not readiness. Courage is choice. The ship jolted again as another blast struck. Crates crashed to the floor. Crew members shouted in fear. The captain grabbed Daniel's shoulder, shaking him. If you have any secrets left, boy, now is the time. Daniel stared at her, then slowly raised the glowing shard. It floated from his palm, spinning in the air, projecting the star map. Again, the red circle burned brighter than ever. The captain's eyes widened. The archive, she whispered. The keeper's voice echoed in Daniel's mind. The veil fears what lies within. That is why they chase you. That is why they must be stopped. The veil ships drew closer, forming a ring around the cargo ship. Energy beams charged, glowing with deadly light. The crew's voices cracked with panic. We can't fight them. We're outnumbered. Daniel's knees shook. His hands trembled. But he raised the keeper high. Its light spread through the ship, blue and warm, wrapping around the hull like a shield. The next blast struck. But instead of tearing them apart, the energy scattered like water against stone. The crew gasped, their eyes wide. Daniel staggered, his body drained. The keeper's voice whispered, You are the anchor, but you are not alone. Call them. Call who? Daniel gasped, his voice weak. Kindness returns. The keeper said simply, Call them. Suddenly, the comms lit up. Dozens of voices echoed from surrounding ships, traders, miners, refugees, humans and aliens alike, all drawn by the same signal. They had seen the light. They had felt the pulse of the keeper. The captain's eyes widened. They came. They actually came. Outside, small ships rushed forward, forming a chaotic fleet. They were not soldiers, not warriors, but they were people who had once been saved by small acts of kindness, by a human who helped, by a trader who shared, by a stranger who cared. They answered. The call. Daniel's chest swelled. His fear was still there, but hope rose beside it. The alien's voice echoed in his memory. Kindness will return to you when the stars fall. The Veil fleet fired again. Darkness rained like fire. But this time, the combined ships fought back. Blasters lit the void. Engines roared. Explosions bloomed across the black. It was not order, it was chaos. But it was resistance. The captain piloted her ship into the heart of the battle, her voice sharp. Hold steady, waiter. If you are the spark, then burn bright. Daniel held the keeper tightly. Its light surged, guiding the fleet. Every pulse showed them where to strike. Every glow shielded them from the worst blows. The Veil roared in silence, their shadows twisting angrily. Still, they were too many. Ships fell. One by one, voices cut off in static. Daniel's arms shook, his vision blurred. I can't hold it. He cried. You can, the keeper whispered. Because you are not alone. Because humanity stands with you. The shard pulsed again. A final vision flared before his eyes. He saw Earth, distant and blue. He saw countless humans living ordinary lives. Cooking, working, laughing, dreaming. All unaware of the danger waiting beyond the stars. And yet, all connected to him, Daniel screamed with everything inside him. The keeper blazed brighter than ever. Its light cut through the darkness, striking the nearest Veil ship. For the first time, the shadow cracked. Fragments scattered into the void. The crew cheered. The Veil fleet recoiled, shifting their formation. The captain's voice rang out. We can hurt them, they're not invincible. But then the largest Veil ship moved forward. Its wings spread wider than all the others. It blotted out the stars completely. Daniel's breath froze. The keeper's voice grew quiet. The first stand is never the last. This is only the beginning. The massive ship charged its weapon, aglow, like a dying star built at its core. Daniel gripped the keeper tighter, his body weak, his heart racing, but his eyes burned with fire. He whispered to himself, I was just a waiter. He lifted the keeper high, light spilling from his arms. But now, I am humanity's hope. The glow of the Veil weapon filled the void. The light of the keeper answered. Two forces, one of shadow, one of kindness, clashed in silence. The ship shook violently. The crew shouted. The stars themselves seemed to tremble. And then, darkness. The story paused there, on the edge of destruction. Daniel's fate unknown. The battle hanging in silence. The galaxy waiting.